Lawyer advice: just keep the captain's DUI under wraps and then blame the aircraft manufacturer for the accident. That would completely absolve the airline of any responsibility. They'd first have to dispose of the captain's alcohol report in front of a huge airline. It's just too easy. Lawyer rules previous test report null and void on grounds that hospital's breathalyzer was too old. Next, the captain went to the chief steward and the co-pilot. He asked them to help him hide his drinking, although they didn't want to say yes, but after all, it was the captain's wise maneuver. They were able to survive. Finally, at the captain's request, they both agreed to hide the truth for him. He thought that was the end of it, but then came the bad news. The investigation team found 2 empty wine bottles in the wreckage of the plane, but this was a short-haul flight. There was no food service. The only people who had access to the alcohol were the crew, and the finger is pointing directly at the captain. At this point, the lawyer suggested one of the stewardess was found to have alcohol in her system. All he have to do is say that the wine was consumed by the flight attendant. Then the captain would be cleared of any wrongdoing and continue to be a national hero. This is obviously a good idea. The lawyer also specifically warned him, until the hearing in 10 days, he must never touch alcohol again. The captain has been obedient and hasn't had a drink for 9 days. As long as he survives the hearing tomorrow, he'd be able to go back to being a hero. The night before the hearing, the captain was put up in a nearby hotel, but at night, he don't know if it was fear or something else. The pilot couldn't sleep, so he opened the fridge. There was nothing but drinks in there. Then he went to the next room. He opens the fridge. Oh my god, it's full of booze. It turns out that the lawyer was afraid that he would drink. He took all the booze to the next room. The captain took out one of the bottles and held it to his nose. Finally, he resisted the urge, put the wine back. The lawyer opened the door the next day and found the house full of bottles. The captain was nowhere to be found. They finally found the drunken captain in the bathroom. The hearing was about to start, but they woke the pilot up in time. It's a good thing he wasn't late. The hearing began. The investigation team watched the video of the crash landing. They had the highest respect for the captain, because they had no less than 10 pilots to simulate that day's crash landing, and they all crashed. This also proved the captain's bravery that day. Everyone applauded, and the accident was caused by a broken tail. At this point, the captain only has to answer 3 questions. He was cleared of any wrongdoing. The investigators asked him if he had been drinking before the accident. The captain answered no. The investigators asked him again if he had been drinking that day. Again, the captain answered no. Now for the last question. The investigator asked if the 2 empty bottles were drunk by the flight attendant who died. At this point, as long as the captain answers yes, he could get away with it and continue to be his heroic captain. But he was silent. Looking at the picture of the stewardess on the screen, his eyes were wet. He couldn't bear to put the blame on the stewardess, because the stewardess was trying to save the little boy who wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and that's why she died in the accident. If he lied now, I'm afraid he'll blame himself for the rest of his life. The captain took a big drink of water, gathered the courage to tell the truth.
Trina Marquez did not drink the vodka, because I drank the vodka.
When he did, the whole audience was in an uproar. In the end, the captain was sentenced to life imprisonment. He would spend the rest of his life in prison, but the captain felt a great sense of relief, because the burden in his heart could finally be put down. So here's the question: should you fly a plane if you've been drinking?